Hi, this is a recording I'm making to explain how I manually make stems in Koala. So I took a bunch of sounds, I put them on different pages. So this first page has got a whole bunch of different sound effects. Down at the bottom I have some ambient sort of background sounds like sort of record, needle, and maybe something sort of akin to rain. And then on the next one I have modulated samples like notes, and you can use these to modulate with the keyboard. And on the C page I have all drums, and I'm going to call this a drum just to make my life a little bit easier. So I'm going to move this to the drum page. So save it, and what I really want to do, is turn off notifications. That's what I want right there is what I want. I created a sequence using a lot of the sounds from a lot of the different pads. And so then after I had all of my sequences, I made a decision on what order I wanted them, and I combined them all together. So I actually just did them all in this order. So I clicked on it, I dragged it to another window, and I'm going to drag it to here. That one was two bars, so I click on the next one, drag that one in, and add it to the end. That makes this now 4 bars. And I just kept doing that until eventually I created this one, which was 16 bars. And after I had all of my sequence, this is effectively my song. So when I hit play, it plays all of the music all together. We're not going to listen to all 16 bars, but now that I have it, I can save my actual file. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the sequence, and then we're going to go up to the 3 bars at the top, and we're going to say export, and we're going to export out the current sequence, okay? But if we do the current sequence, it actually shows you 2 options. I could do mixed, which is going to mix all of the different sounds all together into one track, so it's like a finished wave file. That would be like your entire song. Or you can do stems. Now, if we were to do stems now, it would make every single pad have its own wave file. And so as you can imagine, in this case, let's take a look at that. There's good 10 here, 4 here, another 16 here, and another one there. So it's a lot for sure. I mean, you'd have 20 tracks, 30 tracks. That's a little too much for AUM. It starts to tax AUM, and also it's really unwieldy to have to swipe through AUM all the time to get to all of the different faders. And I don't know that you need that level of control either. So if you do, and your M1 iPad can handle it, go for it, do it. But for me, that wouldn't work. So what I tend to do is combine the things that I think should go together, that I might use the same effects on, or might have the same level. I want to control the levels all at the same time. I'll combine them. So in this case, what I made a decision was I was going to do all these sound effects. Up at the top is one stem. The ambient sounds at the bottom, I was going to do that as a separate stem, and then all of these modulated like notes I was going to do as another stem, and I was going to do all my drums as another stem. So in this case, I already moved this one over. I can delete this one. So I guess that would be 4 stems. So the way I do this is let's start from the back first. We'll do the drums. If I want to do a stem that's drums, I have to delete everything else. So if I go to A, I can select all of them, drag them up into the trash, and you know, it's a bit of a pain, but you can see you can drag more than one at one time, and you can sort of do it quickly. So done. Really, that wasn't more than a second. And so now if I make sure I'm on the right sequence, this is the one right here that is 16 bars. You can sort of see here. You can see here it's 16 bars. And so now when we go to export, we can export out the current sequence I just selected, and we can say mixed, and it's going to mix all of the drums together as one. Now if you wanted to, you could, you know, do all of the bass drum, delete everything except for the bass drums, and then have all the bass drums together. You could do, maybe you want all the snares together. So you could do the same process, but for simplicity, I'm just going to do all of the drums as one. Save, I give it a name, example dash drums, and I save it all the same place. So save to files. On my phone. My computer's going really slow. Here I put it in downloads and then example. Save. Now, I actually already saved this file in that folder, so I'm not going to do it again. And once I was done exporting this out, then I would reload the project in, because remember I saved it before I deleted everything. So if I reload it, I'll get everything back. So this one's called drums 3. And if I go back, I have all of my instruments again. So in this case, if I want to do the next one, I would delete all of my drums. So delete all the drums. And so we could do all of our modulated instruments. So we'll do B. So I need to delete everything that's on A. Go back to B. Go to sequence. Make sure I'm on the right sequence. This is one that's 16 bars. And then do the same thing. Say export and current sequence. And I would do mixed, because we want to save all of these instruments as one track. So do that. And I already did it, so I'm not going to bother doing it again. And then, you know, you would do the same thing. You would load in drums again, drums 3, and do the same thing. You know, I would delete all of the drums. I would delete all of the modulated instruments, and then I would come to this one, and I would delete the 2 ambient ones. So here I could export out this one, save, make sure I'm on sequence, yes, go back to export, and save the current sequence. We do mixed, save it, we'd be good. Load it in again, and then we would delete everything except, we would keep these 2, and then we would export out these 2 ambient ones. So I'm not going to bother deleting all of these all over again. But once you do that, then you would be done with Koala. So I could actually delete Koala. So once I've exported out my stems, I usually bring them into AUM. So to do that, you just click on the plus sign, click on audio, click on the plus at the top, choose file player, tap to load a file, and then I click on this little folder icon on the top right with the arrow. That lets me browse for my files that are on my device, and so I'm already browsed on the example folder where I stored all these. So if I click on one of them, it loads. What I usually do is I scroll to the bottom and I normalize all of my samples to make them all about the same volume, and then I click on sync. And so that's it for this, and then I swipe over and I add another one. And I'll usually just keep doing this over and over. I'm not going to waste our time doing that again because I've already done it. So if you give me a moment, I'll load in the file with my example. So I loaded in the file. And so if I swipe through, you can see I've already created a file player for each one. And on the bottom, it's hard to read, but this one actually says example drums. This one says example melodic, example melodic 2, example mixed. I don't remember why I called it that. And sound effects. I think the mixed was the ambient one. And so if we go all the way over and we click on solo, got a solo on my microphone or you won't hear me, and hit play, we'll hear this channel. And so I've already added a compressor on this channel. So, it's a good example where just doing a little bit of compression on the drums kind of beefs it up. And if you had maybe exported out the bass drum, you could, isolate just the bass drum to have a compressor, or maybe you want your snare to have more compression, but you could actually have quite a bit of control. And if we swipe over to our next one, and we solo that, unsolo this one, we hit play. So you can see I already have all of them set in here, and I can change the volume for each one. And so you kind of get the idea. You could put on different effects on each channel separately, control the volume for each one separately now, which is a level of control you wouldn't ever normally have, without using a program like AUM. So hopefully that gives you a sense on how to do this. Good luck.